All right, so we're back. We got Mr. Zeke Wagar with us tonight.
Hello, B. Gregs.
Yes, hello, straw man.
I hate that name.
That's still my name in it's still your name in my phone, and it's
Hate it.
will always be. So you better get used to it, pal. What's the thing? I was just thinking, what's the Home Alone 2 thing when the uncle's in the shower? What's the thing he says? Like something Frankie.
You're cooking, Frankie.
You're cooking, Frankie. I was trying to remember it. I was like, Zeke gotta know this. I wanted to say it, but I forgot what the hell the line was.
Home
Well,
Alone lines. You come to me.
he's got them all. He pulls them off his ass all the time. Try that one. Well, hello. That's another Home Alone line. Suck a brick. That's
Right.
another Home Alone line. It's
Right.
classics.
Some people call me Gus Polinski.
Yes. Gus Polinski. Polka King of the Midwest.
That's right. Had a couple hits back in the day.
Polka twists.
That's right.
Polka shuffle. Kiss me, polka.
Right.
Polka.
Guy knows his music.
Oh my God. Well, all right. Let's jump into this. We weren't able to for better or for worse. It was for better for Zeke and for worse for probably the general community. We weren't able to do a show last week because there was the week after Tua sustained that massive injury on Thursday Night Football, and now there's more quarterback woes with the Dolphins, and so I just want to hear your thoughts about this and kind of where the Dolphins go from here.
Honestly, I don't know where they're going to go from here. I mean, realistically, Tua could come back week 8, but by that point, I mean, they have to stay alive right now. Tennessee, beatable. I mean, Seattle was realistically beatable too, but it's a mixture of bad quarterback play, bad coaching. It's all the same thing I said about Mike McDaniel for a while, and I'm so tired of hearing them say, this is good for the team to face adversity. They need this, and yet they're never on the other side of it. They don't figure it out. I'm so tired of hearing this rah crap. At some point, you got to produce. I want production. You don't get that, and I'm at a point where I don't know. I really I'm so tired of those people who, especially on Facebook, you know how you get with the whole Facebook thing about Tua's buns, as they say. I hate that word. It's so stupid. And anybody can run this offense with those weapons. Well, I think Sunday proved exactly how that's not the case. Skyler looked undecisive, held the ball too long. He's always had happy feet, rolling out to the left and right. He doesn't need to. He just doesn't look comfortable out there. Mike McDaniel's play calling still sloppy as all hell. It's a Miami mess. And it's the same thing it's been my entire life. And it sucks. But, I mean, I told you even at the beginning of the season, even if Tua's healthy and the majority of the team's healthy, which they're not, Mike McDaniel's not a good enough coach to beat the Andy Reids of the world, the McDermotts of the world. Hell, even Mike Tomlin would outcoach Mike McDaniel. He just would. The whole flash of Mike McDaniel. Oh, he's so cool, dude. Like, I'm over it. I want production. I don't care about how cool somebody is. I don't care about how flashy the offense is. Do you win when it matters most? And they don't. This week, it looks like I'm going to take a guess and say Tyler Huntley's going to play. Snoop, which, some people love the mobile aspect of it, but, he's only going to give you so much. He barely knows the offense. He's been there 2 weeks. It's a complicated offense to learn. So it's a mess in Miami right now, and we're probably going to lose to Tennessee. And that breaks my heart because we're a better team, but there's just too much. And it's not just Miami. You look all throughout the league, sloppy football everywhere. And usually, yes, you get that in the first month of the season, but this is beyond that. This is, some of these games are unwatchable, and it's brutal.
It's something I want to touch on with you tonight because I kind of feel like an old Scroogey man when I talk like this, but
Right.
I feel like I have a valid point that the quality of the product when it comes to NFL football on the field from X's and O standpoint, it has not been there like it was 10 years ago. Like you rewind 10 years ago, that would be 2014. We've got Tom Brady. We've got Peyton Manning. We've got prime Aaron Rodgers. We've got Andrew Luck. We've got Drew Brees. I mean, absolutely loaded. We have Cam Newton coming into form, and Phillip Rivers. And I'm probably missing a few. Yeah, great defenses, great run games. So the Pittsburgh and Ravens defenses were both still intact. The Legion of Boom, the 49ers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say it. I think there's better coaching in the NFL at that point back then. You look around the league. I mean, you had Belichick in New England. You still have Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, but you had Sean Payton in New Orleans. He's in Denver now. But that combination with him and Drew Brees, Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh. There was better coaching in the league, and so what do you think contributes to this? Honestly,
well, it's tough. I mean, and it's hard to not sound like an old man because we're really not that old, but that's what we grew up on. We grew up on the more defense, running the ball, hard-nosed football, and the no bullshit coaches. They're going to call it how they see it, and that's that. And now you got these players who are 20, 23, whatever, and it's a whole different class now of they don't want their feelings to be hurt, and the social media, and everybody's soft now, and it's gotten to football now. I mean, it's rough, and I think a lot of coaches are trying to figure out the right amount of being that tough coach and being the coach that players love because he wants to be liked by his players. But there's a fine line in that where at the end of the day, we're here to win. You're there to win football games. You're not there to. I don't care about your brand. You could do that somewhere else. I'm here to win football games, and I think there's just a lack of that. I don't think it's taken as seriously. It's still taken seriously by some guys and some coaches, but not at the level it once was, and it hurts the product. But again, people who are younger, they love this product. It's what they know. It's what they're growing up on. Yeah. So to them, it's great. To us, who didn't grow up with this kind of stuff, it's different. So.
I'm gonna say this, and I sound kind of negative when I say this, but I'm just gonna come out and honestly say it. When I was growing up, you're talking Ravens, Steelers, 49ers, Seahawks, hell, even Patriots, Jets. When we were growing up, there was pure hatred on the field between these two. The guys that did not like each other. At all. And you could see it on the field with body language by the way they approach each other. Mm-hmm. The boys in black and gold hated those in purple and black. Mm-hmm. That's how it was. There's bad blood. You see it sometimes in the NFL now, but there's all this dapping up after the game and exchanging jerseys, and you didn't see any of that when we were growing up. I gotta say, we didn't see any of that. And again, it's something that I'm used to, and I like the fact that players can vibe with each other more and build those kind of meaningful relationships because there is a brotherhood among guys who play sport because that's something that you and I don't know about because there's a sacrifice that you make every time you go out on the field on Sunday, and so it's special for guys to be able to relate in that way. But I also think that when you're talking these age-old rivalries, got to be some hatred out there. You see it a little bit with Chiefs and Bengals, but a lot of these rivalries, I don't really see it anymore. And so I don't know. I wish it was the way that it was. And then another thing I want to add. It sounds like a venting session here, but another thing that I want to add is these holdouts, these contract holdouts.
Yeah.
And I want to make it clear that I'm all about guys getting their money. Right. I really am. It's generational wealth. You made so many sacrifices in your life to get to this point. And if you've produced in your first 3 years of the season, at a level higher than much higher than the average in the league, you deserve to be compensated for it. Like when CeeDee Lamb went out and was demanding his contract, his extension this year, I was all for it. I was like, do not play a game for the Cowboys until you get your money.
Right.
Because Devontae Smith got extended. He's a whole year younger. He got extended. CD has outperformed him. Hasn't gotten his money yet. He has the right to sit out. I'm all for that. But you're getting some of these younger guys, and I'm not going to name names, playing 2 years, asking for an extension and sitting out. That's just that to me, I think, contributes to the deterioration of this product.
Well, it's just some guys, a lot of guys know their worth, and I respect that. You should, but I think some of them think too highly of themselves in some scenarios. Like, but when you look at CeeDee Lamb, right, the Cowboys, who gotta be honest, they can't run the ball. Okay, they can't. They need CeeDee Lamb. Cowboys don't have CeeDee Lamb. That offense is just, it's awful.
And he knows that. He had leverage. He had all the leverage in the world in that situation.
100%. You know, you look at guys like the whole T. Higgins thing. Like, yeah, T. Higgins is a good player, but they can move on. You know, like they'll be all right.
The fact that like that, like you're saying, the fact that everybody's doing it, like you're seeing, you know, WR2s, WR3s doing this. I'm like, come on now. Like if you're a CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson, to where like if you're not on the field, they're a different team. Okay, you got leverage in the situation. But if you're, you know, a second or third option, suck it up and get out there. I'm sorry. It is what it is what it is. Just put the uniform on, get out there.
It's all circumstantial. Every situation is different, and you know, obviously, it's easy for us to sit here and say, you know, we feel this way or that way, and we don't know a lot of the behind the scenes stuff either. You know, that's tough. I mean, some front offices are just full of shitty people.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's every situation's tough, and as fans, like we don't know it all. I mean, we can have a strong opinion on how we feel it's going, but we'll never really know, and that's the shitty part. But between that and, I mean, I understand they want to protect these guys and be safe, but the game has gotten so soft to the point where, like, sometimes it's hard to watch because, like, at the end of the day, football is football. It's a physical sport. These guys know what they're in it for, why they're in it. Let them play sometimes. Guys, you're going to get hurt. Football is 100% injury risk. At some point, you will be hurt. It just is what it is. Throughout all of football, you will be banged up at some point. How severe? Who knows? That's just, you know, the football gods looking out for you. Who knows?
And you know, I'm not, you know, I think there's certain safety measures have to be taken. Like I'm not a. I think precautions have to be taken for head-to-head collisions because of CTE, concussion issues. That's a big deal. I mean, that's something you can't have guys sustaining head injuries. That's gonna not only does it deteriorate the brand of the NFL, but for those guys' well-being, that's terrible because then they become totally different people. They can possibly pass away earlier. That's not something that you want. But you're talking this roughing the passer stuff. I mean, come on. You're expecting a defensive tackle to just stop in his tracks and potentially tear his own ACL trying to sack a quarterback. And growing up, it was a thing, especially in divisional and championship games. You're supposed to lay a couple licks on the quarterback in the first and second quarter to set the tone. That's part of your defensive game plan. That's something James Harrison and Ray Lewis were fantastic at. Laying a lick in the first quarter. This is how we're going to play in Pittsburgh. That was part of strategy. Can't do that anymore. Certain tackles, certain techniques. I mean, it's just part of the game.
And it's hard too because, like, and I agree on the whole like helmet to helmet thing. It's just sometimes the game, especially at that level, the game moves so fast that there's just some things that you can't avoid. Like, there's just some things that these players cannot avoid tackle-wise. It's so bang, bang. It happens so fast. And it's you know, it's not they're not trying to hurt guys. You know, it's just it happens, and I just feel like the game's been watered down, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I want these guys to have a life after football too. Like, listen, I was very adamant. Like I told you, like I think too. I was one of those ones to say, even if the doctors did clear to and it's his life, whatever. In my opinion, I still feel as if it might have been okay for him to walk away.
Oh yeah,
But I don't know. That's a tough conversation to have. So
it is. It is. It's when it comes to somebody who's in that situation, like it's a very important and significant decision that you have to make. But as far as I'm all for regulation when it comes to the head-to-head stuff, and like you can always we can identify when a hit is intentional and
yeah,
egregious. A lot of these flags are being called, and even some of the pass interference stuff, like it is just ridiculous. Like I wouldn't want to be a defensive player right now.
no.
There's a microscope on you. It's crazy.
The league is so offensive driven, and I get it. Offense sells tickets, it sells merchandise. Like I get it. It's flashy, it's cool, but at the same time, like I always say, offense wins games, but defense at the end of the day still wins championships. I mean, look at that. I mean, now I wasn't very high on those Panthers thing with the Super Bowl against the Broncos. Don't get me wrong, and we've discussed that many times. But yeah, that offense, where everyone's gushing over, go against that Broncos defense. And look what happened. Cam got absolutely obliterated.
So many times.
So many times.
NFL, college, Michigan. So many people, including myself, didn't believe in Michigan in college football this year.
Mm-hmm.
What did they do? Shut down Alabama. That fast-paced, explosive Washington offense. Shut it right down.
Yep.
It still matters. The physicality of these defenses, it still matters. And you and I we're two old school lunch pail to work kind of guys. We're about smash mouth, hit him in the mouth football. Like that's what we are. So all these kids these days can like their flashy offenses, and I like me some offense. You know that.
Oh, you do. Believe me, you do.
You gotta hit him in the mouth a little bit too. That's the Northeast in me. We grew up around nasty, rainy, snowy football, and it's
right.
But you gotta get down and dirty sometimes. Yeah, and I appreciate that.
Well, I also hate like the flags that are being called. It's just too inconsistent. They'll call one thing, right? They'll call roughing the passer one call, and then 2 quarters later, that exact play will happen and nothing. And I'm just like, I hate the call regardless, but if you're gonna call it, call it.
Yeah.
Be consistent, and that's a big issue. That's also why I think NFL refs should be full time. That's been a conversation for ever. So who knows if it'll ever happen, but.
No, I think they should. I think they should long term be full time employees. I mean, with the amount of prep that goes into a game, and with the stakes of some of these games, I think that if we want to get this right and we want to be accurate with these calls, especially, you don't want officiating to determine a game like Cincinnati and Kansas City. You don't, and that's what it came down to. You don't want that to be the case. So I think that it's imperative to be consistent and get these calls right in big spots. And with that said, I want to ask you, as far as officiating goes, there's a narrative going on right now about Kansas City.
Yeah,
these wins that they're getting, the refs kind of putting them in position to get there.
Yeah.
I've got my thoughts on it, but what do you think?
Well, as far as the Atlanta game the other night, yes, the Kyle Pitts no call, that should have been called 100%. When they got the ball back, they got a couple calls. They threw a couple calls in there for Atlanta to make up for that because the refs knew they messed up.
Oh yeah.
One of them was a right call. One of them they gave Atlanta. But at the end of the day, Morris was coaching down the stretch there. It was bad. 4th and 1, they're going to go to the outside zone. Like, the coaching was poor late. So, don't get me wrong. The officiating definitely helped Kansas City, but Atlanta did themselves no favors either late in that game. So, that's a tough one. But they get the New England treatment. They just do, and that's because Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes, and obviously he's an all-time great already, and the Chiefs again sell for the NFL. They just do, and I'm not one of those people who says the game is fixed and this and that. But if you think that the NFL, who brings in all this revenue and is trying to be all global, all over the world, expand the game, if you don't think that they're also trying to look out for their pockets, you're out of your mind. I'm not saying they're straight up deciding games, but they're definitely trying to push some things in certain favors of others. I mean, it is obvious sometimes. And I'm not saying it's every game for Kansas City, but Kansas City certainly gets more breaks than a Minnesota would or a Tennessee would. It's just facts. If you watch the games, it is just facts. And that's what happens when you have a Hall of Fame quarterback, a Hall of Fame coach, a team that constantly wins and is always in the picture. I mean, it's always been the case. It's always going to be the case.
Well, and there's 2 points that I want to build off of that too. Like the NFL at the end of the day is a business, and every business out there, whether it be a restaurant, whether it be a golf course, whether it be a logistics company, whatever, a hardware store, what your best products are. You're going to invest most of your resources, most of your time, most of your attention into those products, those items that are going to make you the most money, the inventory that's going to generate the most revenue for you.
Right.
That's why the Patriots got the treatment they did all those years. That's why Kansas City gets all the breaks that they do. It's no coincidence, and I'm not upset about it. Like that's the NFL should be doing that. Like you need to conserve and elevate your best products. They also do it with Buffalo because Buffalo's brand exposure generates so much extra revenue and attention and eyeballs for the NFL because it's Buffalo is that classic feel good story, that classic American dream feel good story that everybody clings and attaches to. So they're a lovable team. The NFL is going to promote that. The Eagles are another one with their brand and a lot of the polarizing players that they have and the reputation that Philly fans have. It's controversial. It gets people going. They're going to give them breaks. The Cowboys, it's America's team. You play the Cowboys in Dallas. Dallas is they're getting calls here. It is what it is. Get over it. I mean, there's smaller teams are not going to get those breaks. Teams that don't generate as much for the NFL, they're not going to get those same breaks. It is what it is. And number 2, Kobe Bryant talked about this in his book years ago that I read, amazing book. And I think it's called The Mamba Mentality, if I'm not mistaken.
Wouldn't be surprised.
A great, amazing book. But he talked about how he went out of his way to build relationships with referees. Tom Brady always did that. Peyton Manning always did that. Patrick Mahomes does it now. Josh Allen does that now. And if you watch closely, especially in these playoff games, what do you notice? A lot of the same referees.
Well, yeah.
Divisional games, these championship games, these big America's Game of the Week 3:25 p.m. slots, these Sunday Night Football slots. A lot of times you're getting the same crews coming in, and they see these guys time and time and time again because they're always on top. They're always they run things a certain way in their building, and their culture's curated a certain way to where they're in these big games, primetime slots, playoff games every year. They build rapport with the same refs all the time. They're going to get called to go their way because if you don't think that some of these coaches and players are taking these referees to dinner and hanging out with them, chatting with them before the game, they're smart. That's what you build relationships. You build relationships with the gatekeeper. It's business. It's smart. That's what they do. And I'm not upset with Kansas City at all. Yes, do they get certain breaks? Yes. But I think so many people resort to that argument. Oh, Kansas City gets this, Kansas City gets that. And it's like the victim mentality. I mean, after a certain amount of time, you just have to admit that Kansas City is just that good.
Hmm.
I mean, Zeke, we're going on 6 years now of this. They're
I know.
maybe they're just maybe they pull these games off because they're just that good. So that's I like to take a step back and appreciate what they're doing too. It's freaking amazing. It is.
You know how I feel about that. You and me are very opposite on that.
Oh,
I've always been. I love the underdog story. I want the small guy to win. Like I love that. That dominating shit. Yeah.
I love it. The Patriots. I wish the Patriots won 7.
No.
I would love to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. That's greatness. I mean, it's setting a standard.
See, this is where I'm gonna throw you under the bus. Last year, you were begging for Baltimore to beat Kansas City.
Well, we know why that is. We know why that is.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that conversation did happen. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't want Taylor Swift media or I didn't want Taylor Swift mania in the Super Bowl. It was freaking. I was tired of it. It was freaking crazy. I wanted. And I want to see the Ravens. I've always liked that franchise. I want to see them get into the Super Bowl. But unfortunately, certain people in that Ravens game let me down, Mr. Lamar Jackson.
I still do every time.
Mr. Todd Monken. A lot of guys let me down in that game. I'm still a little hurt. So yes, last year I was very much in favor of the Ravens winning that game, but there's not as much press about the whole Taylor Swift thing anymore. So I'm okay with the Chiefs being back in the spotlight. I respect greatness. I really do. I appreciate greatness. And some people, like the man to the right of me here, they don't. He doesn't. He also hates Alabama. I'm gonna call that out too.
Yeah, I don't like the Crimson Tide.
He even though he's been there 3 times and gets treated like gold.
Been there 4 times.
4. Oh, 4.
4 times. And let me tell you, some of those people, and you saw it, we were at the Bama against Mississippi State, blowing them out, and these drunk kids behind us are yelling about, you can't let them score. You guys were up like 40 with 3 minutes left. I'm like, put the Busch Light down and relax. Okay, you're okay. They can have a touchdown. It's not the end of the world.
We have a high standard. We're Alabama. We got high standards.
Oh yeah, I know. So high that the last game that we were at against Arkansas, there was a gentleman behind us. What was he, Australian or something? Talking to his friend about, hey, at halftime you want to leave and go home and watch Peaky Blinders. I'm like, why are you people even here? I'm confused. Alabama is such a strange place. I love it, but it's a strange place. People are out of their minds.
It's a wonderful place. I'm going to be there tomorrow. It's going to be wonderful.
Yes, you will.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. There's also a guy in front of Bryant-Denny Stadium on game day that yelled at Zeke, "Yeah, Dolphins suck, man."
No, it wasn't even on a game day. It was a regular day. You were showing me the town. We're on the Walk of Champions. I'm minding my own business. Yes, I'm wearing teal shorts and a teal shirt. Okay, everybody knows that by now. I'm just standing there minding my business, and this old dude, almost 50, he's like, "Hey, buddy, Dolphins suck." And I just look over at him like, "Yeah, okay, dude. Like, don't you got some lunch to go make for your kids, or I don't know, something else?
You have to go home and watch like Walker Texas Rangers. I mean, come on,
like go home, dude. You creep." I don't know. There's some strange people down there.
There's one thing we're going to end off with today. I will be in Tuscaloosa tomorrow night, watching the Dallas Cowboys take on the New York Giants, and there's been a lot of chatter about this game. It's being a must win, on week 4 for the Dallas Cowboys, and to a certain degree, I agree because of Dallas's schedule that follows. But I've also never been one of those alarmists early in the season because you've seen so many teams have terrible starts and bounce back. Yeah. But you're coming off of this. There's a lot of Giants fans right now that I think very highly of this team in upstate New York, and the electrifying Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors connection after they beat the Browns this weekend. What are your thoughts on this?
See, I struggle to say much because of the fact that the minute I say anything, you're a hater. You're a Giants hater. You're just a jerk. Like, hey, pal, I hate to tell you, I just keep it real with you and you don't like it. All right? And that sucks for you. Cry about it. Listen, Malik Neighbors, I even said it. I said I love the draft pick. There's multiple texts that I have. I live with a Giants fan. I told him, I said, I like the pick. You need a weapon. Now, do I think that if they should have gone and got a quarterback? 100%. But realistically, they never had a chance. Washington wasn't going to trade out of that pick, and they certainly weren't going to trade to the Giants. That was never going to happen. So that was never even a realistic shot, even though Dable wanted Jay Daniels. It was never going to happen. So I respect the pick. I like the pick. I think he's a stud. He's going to be a good player. That's great and all. But my goodness, the stuff I'm reading about top 5 receiver already, that's that. Like, can we pump the brakes here on that? Top 5, like lay off the Bush Light again. Like I don't know. I respect it. I get it. You want to be a fan. You want to enjoy your team winning. That's great, Realistically, you shouldn't want to win. You should want to be losing to go get a quarterback because you need one. Because your guy 8, that guy sucks. I watched enough of Daniel Jones. I don't want to watch any more of Daniel Jones. And the fact that people try to compare my quarterback to that quarterback makes me almost physically ill. Okay, because they're not in the same stratosphere. They're just not. Look at the numbers. Watch the tape. It's not. People, especially Giants fans, they live in the, well, this just happened, so this is what it's got to be. Like, this is the case for the Giants. Like, no. You're not winning the division, so stop thinking you're gonna, because you're not. You're not competing for it, so I don't want to hear that crap. Okay? Now, Dallas, I'm sorry, but they're a mess. They can't stop the run, and they can't run the ball themselves. That is a disaster. So that's tough. Do I think the Cowboys will win? Yes. Because Dak, he owns the Giants. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be a good game, though. The Giants will be sloppy. Mind you, they barely even had Denzel Ward on Malik Neighbors at all. It was Emerson. It was Newsome. Like, what are we doing? Put your best on their best. But no, Denzel Ward at times was covering, Jalen Hyatt and Darius Slate. And like, what? Like, no, shadow him and follow him. I don't care. That's all they got. It's all the Giants got. Oh, Devin Singletary and Jonah's boy there.
Wandale Robinson.
No, don't get me started on Wanda. That's another thing. It's just a mess. And I don't like to argue with Giants. I don't like it. Okay, I don't. But sometimes that's pointed out to someone because they just don't get it. At some points, they're never going to get it. It is what it is. I waste my breath. If they want to have this moment and they're so excited and they think that they're going to be whatever the hell they're going to be, have at it. I'm done. I throw up my hands and say, God bless, because the franchise is a mess. I don't know what to tell you. You people will live in a basement forever. So I don't know what to tell you.
It's Zeke Wagar. Tell them how he really feels. I love it. I'm here for it. I love the Giants rage.
I don't want it to be this way. They make it this way. They make it unbearable. And you're just a hater, bro. I'm like, okay, whatever you say. Whatever you say. And the Giants fans try and sit there and argue with me about my team. Like, oh, God, I don't know. They're like, do you even really watch the Dolphins? And I sit there and I'm like, anybody that knows me, okay, there's weekends I get dressed up in the whole game uniform. Like, yeah, some would think it's crazy because it is a little crazy. But that's how much I care. I'm watching the film every day. I watch every week. I watch all fucking training camp. All the prep. I watch it all. I stay locked in. And I do the same with the Giants for that exact fact that when they try to come at me about my team and say that I don't know nothing about their team, I'm prepared and I'm ready. I watch because I'm ready for these arguments because I'm tired of their shit. I'm so tired of getting worked.
That was electric.
I hate this time of year. I hate it.
This 0-3 and 3-0 time, and this is a high pressure game. This is going to make or break your season.
Daniel Jones is back. He's not back. He's not. Where is he coming back from? He sucked. He always sucked. They hang on to that 22 season like it was some kind of gem. It wasn't. Get over it. I tried to tell you that 22. You didn't believe it then. You still don't believe it now. I'm like, well, what else has to happen for you people to realize you're a mess? You are one of the most laughable organizations and teams in the NFL, and that's a fact. Did you watched Hard Knocks? Did you see how depressing that was?
Yeah, I sure did.
Mr. Morrow saying, I'm going to be sick if Saquon doesn't come back. Yeah, and guess what? He didn't come back. You know why? Because you didn't want to fork over the money. And I get it. The running back position, nobody really pays. I get it. But regardless, you got the quarterback you do, and he sucks, so deal with it.
That was electric. That was the moment I've been waiting for on this show forever, and I knew it was coming. I knew that you had enough just like fuel and just pure piss and vinegar built in you after these past 2 weeks that was going to happen.
I don't like people see me like that, but sometimes, dude, I have to let it out because it angers me so bad, and to the point where, dude, I told you. I was getting text that Thursday night when Tua got hurt. I was getting text on my phone from random numbers who somehow have my number. Somebody gave my number. I don't know. Texting me awful things about, how does it feel your quarterback's crippled and all these crazy things. And yes, I get it. I go on Facebook and I said the same about the Giants, okay? I didn't do it all last year, okay, because the on-the-field product proved what I was trying to say. It was garbage. Absolute garbage. Okay, so I stopped last year. This year, I've done a little, but nothing nearly as bad as 2022. Okay, and now these people are coming to me. I hope that your Buns quarterbacks can walk again. And like, I don't even know these people. It blows my mind. It's a mess. The whole thing is a mess. The fan base is a mess. I need to move out of the Northeast. That's what I need to do. I need to get away from all of this. I need to find me a rich old woman who can take me away from all of this. That's what I need. So, look down in Dallas. I know there's a bunch of rich old women on. Hey, I can put a cowboy hat on.
I mean, hey, the door. You know the door is always open down here in Texas.
That's right.
I mean, you'll be good. You'll be good if you come down here to the Lone Star State, and I think the Cowboys will be good on tomorrow night too. I think they're going to pull it off. Well, like I said about Alabama and Georgia, there's certain teams that have their opponent's number.
Yeah,
and it is what it is. The Cowboys have the Giants' number. They have for the past 11 games, and I think they'll get 12. Will it be an electrifying game out of the Cowboys? I don't think so. I think they do have a lot of issues with their roster dynamic right now. Absolutely. Yeah. Depth's a big question mark. Stopping the run. Playing against West Coast offenses. That's been an issue for the Cowboys, but I think that they have enough going into the circumstance that they have tomorrow night to where they have talent mismatches all over the fields. They're just going to capitalize on it. I like Dallas, maybe like 24-14. That's my final score.
Well, the big thing too is right now as far as pressure rate, Dak's getting pressured at one of the lowest rates in the league, so he'll have time. Which against that Giants D line is big because there's a lot of playmakers on that D line. I will admit that you paid a shit ton of money. Congratulations. Secondary, however, those guys. Adoree Jackson's out tomorrow. Drew Phillips, the rookie in the slot, he's out. The secondary is already a mess. So Dak's gonna have time. He should be able to just pick apart that secondary, no problem. So that's a big reason as to why I always think the Cowboys are gonna win. Even though I'm not a big Mike McCarthy guy, because Mike McCarthy is just not. He's not cutting. He didn't cut it in Green Bay. He doesn't cut it now. He's just not a fan.
I love this. We had a very honest Zeke on here tonight. We had a Zeke who had the Pistons pumping, and he was ready to go. There's no way I would have rather had it tonight.
I tried.
That was great. That was uncut. That was perfect. Zeke Wagar, thank you for coming on here tonight, as always. And we will be back on next Wednesday, and hopefully have a couple stories from Tuscaloosa.
I guarantee it.
I guarantee it. I'll catch you later, pal.
All right, man.